Hello, and welcome to Shrink, the podcast for the mind. I'm Philippe, and I talk to the people who want to have a better understanding of their issues with weight and body image. In this episode, I've decided to talk about procrastination, which is a subject that I know very well because I've been procrastinating for so long, for so many years, for different reasons. If I look back at the definition of procrastination, it says it's the act of delaying something that must be done. So why do you procrastinate? Well, it could be that the project or the task that you've got to do is something you really don't like doing. So sometimes it can be as simple as that. But it can also be that you don't feel like you're good enough to succeed. You feel like the task or this project that you've got to do is way too complicated, or you're not smart enough to do it, or you don't have enough energy to do it. It's sometimes linked to the imposter syndrome, not always. So it's like daunting. The idea of doing that thing is daunting. It can also be that you feel like if you succeed, and if you do that project, that task, it will take you somewhere you're scared of. Let's say you want to change. You want to change in your job. You want to go and find another job or start your own company. Well, the idea may be very exciting, and it could really be a good one, but you're really scared because it's something you haven't done before. You feel like you're in a safe place at the moment, and just by sending an application and making sure your CV is up to date, you feel like it's going to take you somewhere which is really scary for you. You can also think that once you're done with that task, there will be even more later. So it's like one project that you're done with is going to create a lot more. For example, if you, let's say again, you fill in an application for a job, it will mean that you will have to go for interviews. It will be I say interviews, it could be that you've applied to different companies. So there you are. You were working in a company, feeling kind of safe, even though you were bored or you thought you were not doing your best there. And you thought, okay, it's a good idea for me to move on, to move to something better for me. But then just starting this process is going to mean you're going to have to go through loads of interviews, and you feel like, okay, that's going to be too much. It could also be that unconsciously you want to sabotage something because you know or think it's going to be painful. Let's say, for example, you want to move house. You want to rent a new place or buy a new flat. It's really exciting. You think, okay, I will have more room, it will be brighter, whatever. It will be a better location. But still, maybe it's saying goodbye to a house or a flat in which you've had your kids, or in which you were living with your parents. So it's saying goodbye to something, part of your life that you find difficult to say goodbye to. Let's say you've decided to write your will so that things will be easier once you die. Well, it's a good idea. It's really thinking about the people that you love and making their life easier in a difficult moment. But at the same time, it makes you think about your death and makes you make decisions which are difficult. Who should I give this to? Who should I give that to? So maybe you're procrastinating writing this will because it's a difficult process. And it's fine, as long as you know, as long as you're not doing it and then think, why am I so lazy? Why am I not doing it? And, the more you judge yourself, the more you'll be making it difficult for you. So be gentle with yourself and think, okay, this is difficult. I know why I want to do it, so I'm going to start doing it. It can also be that unconsciously you want to sabotage things. Because even if consciously you think, well, I deserve this or I deserve that, and in order to get there, I need to achieve this, but somehow more unconsciously it's not for you. It's something you don't give yourself the right to achieve. Whatever it is, a goal, a professional thing, a relationship, And so you keep on sabotaging it. By procrastinating, you sabotage the whole process. Being a perfectionist also makes things. I'm smiling because I'm laughing because it's my thing, really. Being a perfectionist is also making things much more difficult, and you're much more tempted to procrastinate because nothing is perfect. It's ridiculous. I mean, just the idea that, for example, this podcast about procrastination, I've been procrastinating quite a lot. Because I thought, okay, really want it to be good, to reflect my thoughts around it, and it's not going to be perfect. I hope you will like it as part of it. I hope it will make sense to you. I really hope, and that's why I do it mainly, that it can help you somehow. But it's not going to be perfect. And the people who are perfectionists, they tend to procrastinate quite a lot, because it's never good enough. It's really tiring. It's a very tiring process. So how do you procrastinate? Well, we can be very creative in terms of ways to procrastinate. Sometimes we keep finding so many things that we need to do before that thing, that task, or that project that is so important for us. So we fill in our diary with so many things, and at the end of the day, or the end of the week, or the end of the month, we think, oh shit, I still haven't done it. I mean, but I've been so busy doing all these things. Anyway, I'll do it next week, next month, whenever. Sometimes we use food for that, and that's a subject that I know very well, of course. So you start doing something, and then you think, I could eat something now. I know I've got these crepes in the cupboard, or I've got this really good vintage old Parmesan in my fridge. So all your attempts to start doing something which is important to you, you will interrupt them, and you will have some food. It's something I see quite often. So using food to procrastinate. What's really tempting also is the social media. I do that as well. Sometimes I should do something, and I don't really feel like doing it for different reasons. I'll think, I don't even think I will go on Instagram, or I'll go on Facebook, and then after like a few seconds, I think, what am I doing? I just started doing this thing, which is really important, or I care about this thing. Well, the thing is that I notice what's going on, so I don't judge myself. It even makes me smile, because it doesn't take me long before I realize, okay, turn off your phone and do this thing that you wanted to do. Like I'm doing this podcast now, and it's been so tempting to go on Instagram, or to go and check my emails, or listen to some music. Anyway, there are all kinds of ways to distract you from the things which are important. Some people use dating as a way not to do things. So they will go endlessly on the dating app, checking the new profiles, having a date, and then chatting with that person. And in fact, they're not really looking to meet someone, to be in a relationship. They think they are, but they're not really. It's really a way to keep themselves busy and not dealing with the really important things. Chatting also is a good one. So you start doing something, and then you think, I need to call my friend, that friend, or I need to call my mother, or I need to call, I really have to call my daughter. It's something you could do later, of course, but again, it will be a way to procrastinate, maybe sometimes to sabotage, like I said earlier. Altogether, you'll be unsatisfied. You'll be unhappy, you'll be frustrated with this. And it will make you feel less and less confident about your ability to tackle that project. So how can you change things? How can you get out of that system? How can you procrastinate less, or for a shorter time anyway? Well, I think that to start with, you need to address things properly, making sure that the project or the task that you want to do is a valid one that will benefit you. And then I think it's important to set yourself priorities. by putting things in your calendar. How long is it really going to take me to do that? Sometimes something which sounds daunting is not going to take us that much time. If you feel like you're sabotaging something by procrastinating, find out why you're doing that. It can really be that it's not the right project for you. It can be, like I said, that it's one that will take you to a place which feels insecure for you. I think you should talk about these difficulties to the people you feel close to people you trust, because they know you. So they can tell you, you've always done that. And you're probably just scared of doing it. Or maybe you don't do it because you think it's not for you. Maybe you don't give yourself the right to do this thing. It can really help as well to think about the reward you'll give to yourself once you're done. Ideally, it shouldn't be food, because I think food shouldn't be a reward, but it can be food. No, but let's say, if I've done this task, if I've done this, whatever suits you, whatever pleases you. It can be a weekend away, it can be buying yourself the book you've wanted to buy for a long time. But altogether, it's not that simple to change these things. It's usually something which is more deeply rooted inside you. And it can take time to find out what's causing you, or what's making you procrastinate the way you do. So please, don't be hard on yourself. It's counterproductive, it doesn't work. You procrastinate for certain reasons. Find out what these reasons are and see how you can challenge them. I know, for example, that when I'm about to record a podcast episode like I'm doing now, I give myself the right to procrastinate. I say, okay, you're starting at 1, but then you're not going to start at 1 really. So you have the right to procrastinate for half an hour. So for half an hour, just do whatever you want to do. And because sometimes it can really be a rebellious thing. So, you just don't want to do it, or you, for whatever reason. I mentioned quite many reasons. So it's some kind of rebellion. But then if you agree with being rebellious, well, you don't need to be rebellious anymore, and you just do it. One thing I know is, and we really have to keep on remembering this, is how good it feels once it's done, whatever it is. It usually feels good. And we must keep that in mind, so that next time we find it difficult to achieve something, we can get back to that memory and think, okay, it's tough, I don't want to do it, I don't feel like doing it, I feel insecure about it, whatever. I've been there before, but I know how good it feels once I'm done with this kind of thing. I think it's really important. There's just one more thing that I wanted to mention, and which can make us procrastinate. Once we're done with all the things that we have to do, it can really be that we're in touch with a sense of emptiness. As long as we have stuff to do, we're still busy. We're still there in our mind. Once we're done, it's, okay, so what do I do now? I'm done. I thought I had so much to do, but in fact, I'm done. And it can be confronting. It can also maybe confront you with some kind of loneliness. Sometimes the procrastination is masking or taking the place of a feeling of loneliness. So this is something you'll have to address as well. Altogether, it seems like it's a lot to address, but keeping on going with procrastination is not satisfying, and you deserve much better than that, really. Anyway, I will get back to this subject of procrastination because I really think it's a very important one. But my last message, I would say, is don't feel guilty if you procrastinate. You're responsible, of course, because you're the one who's delaying things, but you don't guilty. You just maybe hurting yourself or putting yourself at risk. So try and understand what's going on, why it's happening, and how you could change things, knowing that it's not an easy thing to change.